Hi, I'm Sarah from Derby County Community Trust, and today we're going to be making a really filling, healthy veg chilli. So just before we start, I've just washed my hands out there, but I'm going to use my hand sanitizer as well. Especially at this time, it's really important to keep your hands nice and clean and wash your hands on a regular basis. So just let those dry. So this is a brilliant recipe because it's things that we can use from the cupboard. It's really cheap to make as well. You can make your own versions of it, add different vegetables, different things if you want, like mushrooms, grated carrots, but I'm just going to stick with the base today. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I've got my pan heating up here. You can use this, use one of these at home if you've got them, or you can use a frying pan on a low heat. So I'm just going to spray a little bit of my fry light in there. I do use this because it covers the pan really well and it's really low fat. So I'm just going to put that in, let that warm up. So the ingredients that I've got here today are peppers. Again, I've got two different coloured peppers because we want to get as many different colours into our food as possible. Eat our rainbow, so our fruit and veg. And I've done the same with my onions. I really like red onions and I like white onions as well. So I'm just going to do half and half of those to mix it up, a few different flavours in there. I've got my chopped in tomatoes, my kidney beans and my chickpeas, a little bit of pepper, some chilli powder, garlic, stock cube. That is a vegetable stock cube and it is a low salt one, and also my tomato puree. So we don't need loads of ingredients for this. So I'm going to get started with my onion and I'm going to put that in first. So again, I've already chopped these in half, but again, make sure your parents are around, whoever looks after you. Just be really careful when you're using the knives. So again, we want to make our crab hand so that we're not going to risk cutting our fingers off here. And again, just chopping these up nice and finely. If you have a problem when you are cutting onions and it makes you cry, which it does with me sometimes, but touch wood, I seem okay today, a good tip is to run them under cold water before you cut them up. Take the skin off and run them under there, and that seems to stop you making your eyes run. So just going to chop all these up quite finely. There we go. Just ready to throw into the pan. So I'm just cutting these up. So that is my red onion. Put that over there. Chop the end off and I'm going to drop that in. Again, with this recipe, it's a really good recipe because you can do everything in one pan. So less washing up, and it's great as well. If you wanted to double up on the ingredients, it's a great one to keep. I wouldn't freeze it, but it does last in the fridge for a couple of days. So again, it's great for batch cooking. And as we'll see at the end, you can have it with lots and lots of different things. I like this with nachos and a little bit of natural yogurt instead of creme fraiche, which is a much healthier option than the cream. It's great with rice, jacket potatoes, pasta, whatever you want. It's also great to put in wholemeal wraps, and you can make almost a burrito. So there's so many different things you can do with this. It's a brilliant, versatile recipe. So I'm just going to chop my white onion now. So again, being very careful when I'm cutting. I can hear the red onion just beginning to sizzle. I've got it on quite a low heat because this does take about 20 minutes to make. So we are going to put all the ingredients in and let it simmer and then come back so you can see the finished result. Okay, so again, just chopping up my onions, just being very careful of your fingers. And then we're going to throw that in the pan. So half and half, as many different flavour vegetables is great. So we're getting all the vitamins and minerals that we need. So in that goes. I'm just going to give it a little stir. Obviously the oil is stopping it stick, and then we're going to move on to our peppers. Again, peppers are one of my favourite foods. They are so good for us. Lots and lots of vitamin C. I think I've already mentioned in a previous video, more vitamin C than oranges. I have given these a quick wash, so if you are using vegetables that you have got from the shop, really important that you do give them a wash, get all the chemicals off there so they're nice and fresh. So with this pepper, again using my crab hand, just ripping it in half, pulling the top out, giving it a little bang on the table. That will actually get all the seeds out. Just use your fingers, get in there, give it a little shake. And then another top tip for peppers, if you push your hand down on it, on the top of it, it actually flattens your pepper. So if we turn it over, always cut opposite to the skin side, because the skin's the hardest bit, and then it makes it so much easier to chop up. So we're just cutting this. I'm just going to cut this however you want to cut it for your preference. I like mine in chunks, but you can do it in strips. But again, just turn it round, and I'm just going to put half of this, but again, the more the merrier. So I'm going to put half the red in and half the yellow. So I'm just going to throw that in with my pepper and my onion. So that's all going in. Just turn that up a little bit so I can hear it sizzling. And then again, the same with my yellow. So I've got my yellow. Be very careful with your fingers. Cut it in half. Again, just give the seeds a quick shake. There we go. And then give it a bang on the table. And that should get the last ones out. Again, the best bit where you squish it down on the table. That makes it much easier to cut. So if you just turn it over, start cutting it now. There we go. So I can see already in my pan it's starting to sizzle, but all the different colours that we're putting in there. So all that goodness is going into our meal. There we go. So just slicing it up. There we go. Well done. I'm going to missed a bit there. Get the last bit. Like I say, you don't have to be too precise. It's nice and chunky. You want all the fibre from the skin, from the vegetables in there. So in it all goes, and I'm going to give it a little stir. So I'm just going to let that slightly brown off for a minute before I start putting the other ingredients in. So we are going to be putting some chickpeas in here. Now chickpeas are fabulous, really, really filling. They're one of those secret food groups that go into two of the food groups on the Eat Well plate. So they give us energy and they also give us protein. So they're a really, really versatile food. Really good alternative to meat as well. So that's a really, really good food. So we're going to be adding that in a moment. We've got our kidney beans. Again, another one of our sort of secret foods that go into two food groups. Counts as one of our 5 a day, but is also a protein. So again, fabulous for our muscles, keeping us nice and full. Especially if you've had a hard day, you've been out and about, you've been exercising, you've been walking. These foods are going to help repair your muscles as well. So really good one. We've got our tomato. So you can see I've just got a value tomato here. Just as good, nice and flavoursome, because we are going to be adding some herbs and spices, so you don't need to go mad and spend loads. So obviously tomato is one of our 5 a day. If you haven't got chopped tomatoes, don't worry. What we tend to do at home is buy the plum ones. Very carefully put some scissors in there and just give them a snip up in the tin, and you've got chopped tomatoes. So really easy. Again, if you are buying tinned fruit or vegetables, just watch out for the salt content in there. So you can see on here I've got the kidney beans that haven't been preserved in salt. Fruit, if you're buying fruit at the moment to keep in the store cupboard in case you can't get out and about, try and get it where it is in water. If you have anything in syrup, it tends to be pure sugar. So just keep an eye on those, because that's just one of the ways where we can get a little bit of unhealthy eating creeping in. So again, really easy. I have given these a rinse before, so just give the beans a little rinse in water before you put them in a colander. So just throwing everything in. This is the really good thing about this, you can just throw everything into the pan. So in that goes. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir. There we go, and that is smelling delicious. There we go, and I'm giving it a little stir to add everything in. Next thing, I am going to add my stock cube. Now with stock cubes, I have got a vegetable one here because we're going to keep this as a vegetarian meal. But if you've got a chicken one at home and you're not vegetarian, you can add this. This is also a low salt one. So I'm just going to crumble that up in there. There we go. In it goes, and that's just going to give it a little bit of flavour as well. There we go. It's got some herbs and spices in there. So that is going to go in. And then with my tomato puree, the recipe are all available on the website along with all the ingredients. So it's got the exact measurements. But I do think with cooking sometimes it's all about intuition. So it does say 2 tablespoons on the recipe, but what I'm going to do is just give it a squeeze in. Okay, and this can be added to taste. And this tomato puree just makes the flavours a little bit richer, and it just makes the dish a bit thicker as well, the sauce a little bit thicker. So just giving that a nice stir. And then, as it is a veggie chilli, we need to get some of our herbs and spices in. Now today, because we are cooking in slightly different circumstances, I'm going to use garlic granules and just add a few of those in there. So if you are at home and you want to use fresh garlic, that is even better. And you would just add that in the beginning with the peppers and the onions. But I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of this in as well. So there we go. In it goes, and this just gives it flavour. A little tip if you're cooking with garlic, put some parsley in as well, because that will stop your garlic breath, which is quite a handy tip, especially if you're all together in the house and you don't all want to smell like garlic. So I've just added that in, giving it a stir. There we go. And then the most important ingredient is the chilli powder. So you can just buy that. Again, you can use fresh chilli as well if you want to. Just with the fresh chilli, if you're cutting it at home, be very, very careful when you're getting the seeds out. The seeds are the strongest part of the chilli. I'm just putting about a teaspoon in there, and don't rub your eyes because that will make them sore. Okay, so it's all going in. As you can see, I've missed the spoon slightly there, but it's all going in, it's all good stuff. So again, this is a dish that you can adapt to your own taste. If you like more chilli, add more chilli in. If you like it milder, totally up to you. But again, if you wanted to, you could add some mushrooms, grated carrots, whatever you've got in the house. Again, it's another great recipe to use up things that we've got lying around. And because a lot of the ingredients we can find in our cupboards, it's absolutely fabulous. So that is smelling absolutely lovely, and it's looking beautiful as well. All the colours in there, it's so colourful. So what I'm going to do now, the final touches, is I'm going to let it simmer for a few minutes. It's about 15 minutes, but you will need to keep checking the pan. I'm putting a little pinch of, got the right way round, that would help, pepper in there. And then what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to put the lid on this, I am going to add a little bit of water, because it's going to be sort of steaming in its own juices. So I'm putting a little bit of water in, because the lid will go on and that will bring out all the flavour. Keep cooking, but just keep checking it and giving it a little stir. So I'll leave this to simmer now, and we'll come back to you in a few minutes and show you the finished result. Hi everybody, so my chilli has been simmering for about 15 minutes and I've been giving it a stir. So as you can see, it's gone cooked down really, really nicely. If you prefer it with a little bit of water, a bit more watery, you can add some water in there. So I've just served myself a little bit of it now, and what I'm having with mine today is some lovely Greek yogurt. So this is a natural fat-free Greek yogurt. It makes an awesome alternative to things like cream. It's great frozen as ice creams as well, or you can make ice pops with that. So there's loads of uses for that, a really healthy alternative. But I've just put a little bit on top of my chilli here, and I'm just about to get stuck into it. So remember, it's fab with lots of things on its own. Wraps, nachos, rice, pasta. Just remember to stick to your portion sizes and enjoy.